All right, I hope everybody's enjoying your day so far. Quick story, but before I begin, I got to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Ratchet Clothing. Ratchet is a clothing company out of the UK. They have clothing for men, women, and children, various prints. I'll put a link down below. Go check them out. So today's story goes back to August 1989. My co-defendant, Michael Ligori, and we called him Mike the Boxer, and myself were on the lam at this point, evading law enforcement for a homicide that took place. So we immediately left the area that it happened in, which was in Glendale, Queens, and we went to New Jersey. Now, Michael's father, Ronnie, lives in New Jersey and had a car dealership out there. He was in the car business. So we met up with Ronnie. We wanted to get rid of the car that we were in. So he parked the car on the lot. We jumped in his car and he took us to a social club. Now, I'm not from New Jersey. I didn't know any of these guys. I later find out, and that's a whole nother story, the social club belonged to Bobby Cabert. Bobby Cabert is an old-time Caporegime, which is a captain with the Gambino family. So once we get inside the club, typical social club in there, there was a bar and a bunch of guys in the club. One guy was Stevie Lenahan. He was very close to Bobby Cabert and that crew. And just a whole bunch of guys. I had met Stevie before. So the rest of the guys I didn't know, and obviously I didn't know Bobby Cabert. And everybody's coming over to Michael and myself at the bar. You know, they heard what happened. And one of the guys, and I didn't know who he was, comes over and introduces himself as Frankie Vincent. And I don't know him from a hole in the wall. So he says, gee, you know, I heard what happened, you guys, how are you? And he knew Michael through the father, but he didn't know me. So he questioned, he said, John, where are you from? So I mentioned I grew up at Howard Beach and I grew up in Ozone Park. So now when I said Ozone Park, he turns around and he says, really? He says, I'm filming a movie there now. And that was at the time Goodfellas. So I was a little surprised that he was, first of all, that he was an actor and that he was filming in our neighborhood. And he was explaining what the movie was about. And many of you know him, obviously, from that movie, Goodfellas. He also played in, I believe, The Sopranos, and he also played in Casino. And he played in a bunch of movies. So he's talking with us, and he turns around and he says, listen, anything I could do for you guys, you know, just let me know. I feel so terrible what you're going through. Let me know if there's anything I could do for you guys. Figuring, what are we going to do? We're really never going to ask him for anything. So Michael's father had gotten rid of our car, as I mentioned earlier, and he needed time to get us another car. He wanted to get us a car that was good, and we needed a car to travel. So in the interim, Bobby Cabert offered to put us up in the Empress Hotel. The Empress Hotel is in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Back then, it was a real dump. Not the hotel, but Asbury was not as it looks like today. So, like I mentioned, Ronnie Ligori, Michael's father, needed some time. So he told us to hang around by the club, but they really didn't want us there because there's surveillance and all that other stuff going on. So they needed us to lay up for about an hour or two. So Michael's father suggested that we go talk to this Frankie, which is Frankie Vincent, because he has a condo up the block from where the club was, or not far, a couple of blocks away. So Michael and I both approached him. He was having a drink. And we said, hey, you think you could do us a favor? We need to lay up for a couple of hours until his father comes back with the car. And we heard that you have a condo here. Do you think we would be able to stay there for a couple of hours? And he turned around, every excuse in the book. No, I can't do that. He says, I got my girl there. I don't want her, I don't want her to know. I don't want to explain what two guys are going, being there. And I remember just looking at Michael and smirking and shaking my head. And we told him, all right, Frankie, that's all right. Don't worry about it. And we went outside and I mother effed him. What are you going to do? The guy didn't want to make us go to the apartment, whether his girl was there or not. I don't know. He just probably didn't want to get jammed up. He's a movie star now, and he's going to get jammed up for harboring fugitives. But I know the guy passed away since, and may God rest his soul. But I have to be honest with you. Through the years of my incarceration, anytime I seen his face pop up on a screen, I would spit at the screen when I seen him, because I never forgot that he kind of was like what we would call a bean shooter. He said he was going to help us, anything he could do for us. As soon as we came and asked him for a favor, which he never thought that we were going to do, he right away made every excuse in the book. And that really was the story. I could go into a lot more on what took place when we were there between myself and Bobby Cabert, and I'll do that on another episode. So, as I mentioned, it was a short one. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, Frankie Vincent has passed. God rest his soul. And that was that. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day. I'm going to go enjoy mine. Until the next time, ciao for now.